Yes, hello and welcome to the Sydenham Arts Live-streamed Pocast, where we talk all things Sydenham, Lewisham and Beyond. I'm your host, Angela Eyton, and tonight we are joined by three very exciting guests. Coming up on the show this week, we are chatting with the wonderful Julie Cheung-Inhin, the brilliant Sarah Gain, and we have the fantastic founder of Playphonics, Emmy Siobhan. Yes, we also have a special guest appearance for you this week, and we find out who has been crowned the ultimate local living legend of the week. Yeah, that's quite a crown to wear, I can tell you that. For those of you watching via the live stream tonight on YouTube, hello! Let us know you're out there. Say hi. It's nice to know you're there. And if you have any questions throughout the show for any of our guests, pop them in the chat and we will ask them as we go along. So, our first guest is a South London gem. Reviewers have described her as wittily engaging, and we agree. They are an actor, a writer, a model, an activist, and a general top person. Her one-woman show, No More Lotus Flower, was published by Oberon Books, and she is currently working on her next project, The Land of Silk and Honey. She is a bright, shining light with a secret law degree and some exciting writing news that she's going to share with us all tonight. Yes, it is the one, the only Julie Cheung-Inhin. Hey! Hi, Julie.
Hi, this is amazing.
It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for asking. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I'm not going to make this the focus, but because I didn't know this about you before, I've known you for a little while. You have a law degree. You had a law degree before you became an actor or a performer, which is amazing. So what made you transition from law to the arts?
It's really funny, actually. I think so. I did my law degree, and I was like, being like studious and conscientious, and so I think back then I didn't really know what kind of options were available to me, so I kind of just did a good degree. And then but I think I always really just enjoyed acting, and I hadn't really thought about it properly as an actual kind of job until quite a few years later. So I left uni and did like community theatre for a bit, which I really enjoyed, found that was really quite addictive. And then, after a while, started to think, well, maybe there's a space for me to try and do this professionally and see if I can do something a bit more, professional and maybe a bit more exciting. And then I went to drama school. And then, that's how it all panned out from there on in.
Amazing. And did you have any opposition towards your career change, or was it just, it felt kind of natural and people thought, yeah, actually that makes sense?
I didn't really have much of a opposition, actually, because I worked quite a bit like in between after my degree, so I did a bit of work as well, and my acting was kind of up until then almost like voluntary, like a hobby, and then it started to get more, so it became kind of a smooth transition, really. I mean, I don't know if I'd tell myself to do it again, but it was definitely a good choice for me at the time.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sure many people are glad that you made the transition. So your one-woman show, No More Lotus Flower, was written to put the spotlight on what it's like to be a East Asian actor in the UK. Could you give us a bit more context as to what motivated you to tell that story?
So it started all the way back in drama school, actually. So we had character class, and in character class we were told to find a topic that was important to us, that was something that was important in sort of a passionate way, that we would then find someone talking about it on YouTube or interview someone or something like that, and then we had to copy the way they spoke and the way they kind of behaved and performed word for word, like verbatim theatre. And so I did that, and then my teacher at the time, going back, the choice that I chose was that I would do one about the underrepresentation of East Asians, Southeast Asians in like the arts. And at that time, there was this, there was a play on at the Royal Shakespeare Company that had The Orphan of Zhao on, that was sort of set in China, and it's quite a classic example now of like no Asians in there, but you know, it's
Right,
kind of sort of yellow face kind of thing. And so that was a big thing at the time, so I used that as my basis for the project, and it kind of grew from there. So
Yeah, okay, yeah, because we talk, obviously it's very common now to talk about blackface as being like a massive taboo, but actually I guess whitewashing plays that should have East Asian actors in them is actually quite common practice. I would say it's a lot more common in still films and things like that, or at least it has been. Have you started to see a shift in that area at all? Do you think it's changing?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because when you speak to different people, it's always, it is getting better because the discussion is being had, and that's like a big step forward, because before then it was kind of, you often had the same arguments. So there's not enough Asian actors out there, we couldn't find any, but now that's not really an excuse that will fly anymore. So we do have that as a progression, but I think with everything there's always going to be tricky issues beyond that, because it's not just a simple case of putting people on stage. It's a lot about the systemic structure of things, how we change the gatekeepers, and it's like a shift in cultural thinking that needs to be done as well. And obviously that's quite difficult. I mean, for example, we're all kind of guilty of it. If I was reading a book, for example, in my head the character that I'm reading is normally white. That sort of changed nowadays, but when I was growing up it was like that. So it's kind of just a cultural shift that's moving forward. Of course, we always feel like it could be faster, but it is what it is.
Yeah, sure. And your drive towards kind of change in the industry led you to be elected as a member of the Equities Race Equality Commission. Mm-hmm. And you're a part of that, the REC, Race Equality Commission, when Lawrence Fox on BBC Question Time, just for anyone that might not have heard this at the time, shut down academic Rachel Boyle by claiming that she was racist for labelling him as a white privileged male. And after that, the REC issued a tweet in response to his comments. Could you tell us a little bit more about what happened after the tweet was sent?
Yeah, so we because Lawrence is an actor, and we felt that we just sort of had to mention something about this kind of behavior, and just to sort of call out that, because it was kind of, him, exactly how you described it so perfectly there. It was just, he shut down a conversation about race and sort of used the reverse racism issue as well. And so we put it on Twitter, and it kind of snowballed from there, really, because like we didn't really have that many followers, to be honest. It was maybe 800, or maybe not even that. But I think equity, when I say equity, I mean like sort of the central powers that be people felt that it might be somewhat controversial, and so they asked us to take down the tweet, or basically they then shut down our account. So, but of course by then the tweet was already out. And it all just became a bit controversial from there, because it meant really that in essence Fox had a large platform in which to talk about whatever he wanted to, and sort of masquerade as a freedom of speech person. But really what happened was they shut down our freedom of speech, and we didn't have a platform, and it became a bit messy. And obviously, as you know, we then sort of they had to settle. I mean, Fox wasn't even a member of Equity, but they wanted to sort of protect in a way. And so we then resigned in protest, but things have been getting better. So we have been like, talking about how to move forward. We're still helping Equity, and they do want to be better in supporting people of color in the union. So let's see how we go from here, basically.
Okay, that's well, it's good to hear that Equity are having that dialogue with you, really, as well. That's positive. I know, because you were a part of the very first committee, that I'm assuming that was probably quite a big decision to step down. So it's quite like that. So it's good that they've now been open to having those conversations, for sure. Like you say, I think yes, things could always move a bit quicker, but it's good that you're still having that dialogue. Do you think that after kind of everything that's happened during, because it was in March that you resigned, wasn't it? And then now we're in September, unbelievably.
Yeah.
A few things have happened in that time. Including Black Lives Matter and response to that. Do you think that if that had happened with Laurence Fox now, do you think the response would be different, or is that kind of impossible to say, really?
That's a really, really good question, because the situation that they're in at the moment is that Equity don't have a committee that represents its minority members. And obviously we've had Black Lives Matter, which has been like the greatest movement to date, really, that's really brought the movement forward. I'd like to think that maybe things would be different, that maybe, Equity would be more on our side and would be more willing to not side with Fox in that sense. But it is difficult to say, because, the issue that Equity had to deal with was stuff that they were trying also to protect the union from further controversy. And I suppose that's sort of some kind of stuff that we don't always know about. A lot of the whole issue with the Fox and Equity thing was that, ironically, we were also kind of kept out of the room for a lot. So we ourselves in the Equality Committee were being talked about, but weren't part of the conversation, which is, again, more of the whole issue, really, I guess. So
yeah, the systemic stuff, basically, that's a big thing. And so you're very busy, and you're writing a play at the moment as well called The Land of Silk and Honey. Can you give us a little blurb about what that is about without too many spoilers?
Yeah, so it's very early days yet. I'm one of those people who find it really difficult to write about stuff that hasn't actually kind of happened to me, or have heard of it happening to people. So it's kind of, I'm going to just say, almost based on real life, but not to the extent that it's literal. But so basically it's about a British East Asian actress who, like all actors, but especially with her, is finding it quite difficult to move forward in the industry, and is kind of thinking, how can she make herself more prominent, more, get more work, basically. And so she is not sure of her, basically she ends up becoming a webcam girl. And she ends up trying to find out whether that's selling out or not by doing that, because actually she wants to be British, but in her webcam business, maybe she finds that she can actually do better by kind of playing to that stereotype. So it's a bit about her finding her identity there. There's another character as well, who I'm still working on, but I'm quite enjoying writing for him as well, which is he's British Asian as well, but he is struggling with his sexuality, but he hides it because he's very aware of the Asian male stereotype, which is like, effeminate, and yeah, exactly. So he's trying to find navigate his identity in that minefield as well. It is meant to be a comedy, and it is also, based on certain things that I've heard, and so I hope it will it will live up to itself when it comes. If it comes, it will come. But one day.
I believe that you'll turn it into a comedy. I believe that. You also said that you have a bit of exciting writing news to tell us this evening. Are you able to tell us what that is?
Yeah. So there is someone I work with sometimes called Ricky B. Blair, and he and John Russell Gordon are part of a company called Team Angelica, and they do a lot of work with people, and the amazing things that they do is to create more opportunities for other people. And one of their projects that they're doing at the moment is a series of like anthologies of drama school auditionees to find speeches. And so he asked if I would write a speech for their anthology, and I think it's going to be called Lit, the one that I'll be involved in. So yeah, it's nice to be able to give something back, because I remember when I was looking for monologues for drama school, it was fine to use generic ones, but it would have been nice to have had more diverse monologues for different people that I might have been able to resonate with more closely. So exciting.
Yeah. How exciting. And so what do you know what it's going to be? You think it's going to be called Lit, is that right?
That's right, yeah. It's still very early days yet. I literally only just found out about it about a few days ago. So yeah, I'll probably tweet about it again more. That's what we do these days, isn't it? So
it is, yes, you're right. And okay, we've got a couple of younger listeners, Jazz and Holly. They are 8 and 6 years old, and they have they've sent me some questions that they really want to ask grown-ups.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm just gonna ask. Oh, okay. And this one is, what's your favourite colour glitter?
Oh gosh, all glitter is amazing, but I really like, I have to say, I really like pink and purple. They've always been my colours. They're the colours that I always wear, although not tonight, strangely enough, but normally I am always in pink and purple. So.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I think that's quite a good question, actually, because I'm also a glitter fan.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think your favourite colour glitter can be different to your favourite colour. So I think, yeah, that was a good question. Thank you, Jazz and Holly.
Very specific. Exactly.
Yeah, and we asked you to bring along one item that describes lockdown for you. Have you got that with you?
I do. So let me introduce you to Bunny. So so cute. Now, I know this is like I'm going to be advertising for, some free promotion for Nintendo right now. But so lockdown was, obviously we were locked down. And actually that kind of coincided with the time when a very famous video game, anyone who plays Nintendo or Animal Crossing will know all about it. It's basically a kind of a life sim where you live with animals and you build your town and all that kind of thing. But it came out literally just as everyone locked down, and it meant also that you could really socialize through it, because you just go into other people's islands, they come to yours. It's a huge trading community, and I have spent far too many hours that I care to admit on that game. But that's what I've been doing. Play hard, work hard. So that's what I've been doing. It's called Animal Crossing. So yeah, people can visit my island if they want as well. So
there you go. Great. Trading games. But I think you get a lot out of these things as well. So
yeah,
good.
Exactly.
Great. Julie, that's I wish we could talk for longer, but that's all we've got time for right now. So
amazing.
It's been an
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. But we're not ready to say goodbye quite yet.
Exactly.
So we're just going to pop you back in the waiting room.
Okay.
And while we get ready for our next feature, and then we'll bring you back in again. Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Thanks so much. See you in a minute, Julie.
I'll see you in a bit.
Fantastic. Okay, so for our next segment, unbelievably, a very generous Hollywood legend has given up some of his time for us here at Sydenham Arts. Again, this week, there are rumours that he used to live in Sydenham and Forest Hill. Yeah, a double local, if you will. His voice is so husky, it can bring a dog to its knees. Although now he spends most of his time in Beverly Hills, he has vowed never to forget his southeast London roots. Yes, he's kindly taken the time out of his action-packed schedule to record some songs for us. Now, all our guests have to do is listen to the song that he's recorded and tell me what the song is. There is a point for song title, artist, and the year that the song was released. So that's 3 points that are up for grabs per songs. A guest must be the first to buzz in and answer, and that guest gets all the 3 points if they can answer all 3 questions at one time. The opponent can steal if there's a moment of hesitation from the person that buzzed in first. Okay, we have our second guest, Sarah Gain, ready to return, and Julie Cheung-Inhin is ready, eagerly waiting in the wings to play Jason Statham Sings to the Nation.
Jason Statham Sings to the Nation.
Hey, hello, welcome back, Julie, and hello, Sarah. Hello. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hiya.
And thank you, Sarah, for playing a game without much introduction. We will introduce you properly, I promise, after this game. So I'm hoping that you heard the rules while you were waiting in the waiting room. Are you both clear on the rules, or do you need a little recap?
No, good on the rules, I think. Do you
I
want
think
to
so,
start
yeah.
speaking as soon as we beeped, or do you want us to wait until the song is finished?
Oh, definitely buzz in as soon as you have an answer.
Okay.
Because whoever buzzes in first that will be the person that gets to answer. So with that in mind, first of all, Julie, please may I hear your buzzer sound? Oh, nice.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds very buzzer-like. Okay, great. And Sarah, what do you have for me?
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. Okay, so we've got some tonal differences there. And Julie, I thought you might just like to know, we've got someone on the chat saying that they're playing Animal Crossing right now.
Amazing. I know. See, I did say it's a big community out there. So I'm not alone.
Brilliant. Okay, so just remember there are 3 points on offer per song, 1 for the artist, 1 for the song, 1 for the year. All right, are we ready for our first one? Let's do it. Let's bring on the first song.
They don't love you like I love you. Slow down. They don't love you like I love you. Back up. They don't love you like I love you. Step down. They don't love you like I love you. Can't you see? There's no other man above you. What a wicked way to treat a girl that loves you.
I so know that, but I can't think what it is.
Oh, no buzzing.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I recognize it, but I also can't.
Place it.
Oh, okay. Have we got time to do it? Play it one more time. We're going to play it one more time, see if it jogs your memory, and then if not, no worries. There's no points for that song.
They don't love you like I love you. Slow down. They don't love you like I love you. Back up. They don't love you like I love you. Step down. They don't love you like I love you. Can't you see? There's no other man above you. What a wicked way to treat a girl that loves you.
I'm going to go with Drake. They don't love you like you love you.
We need your buzzer. We need a buzzer
beep,
noise.
beep.
I cannot accept it.
Beep, beep.
Okay, that was a beep beep from Sarah Gain.
God,
And
Drake, they don't love you like I love you.
I'm afraid it's not Drake.
2019.
Oh, okay. So none of that information was correct. Okay. Julia, it's your chance. It's your chance to steal.
I've got nothing.
Okay, don't worry. Yeah, you're right. That was good that you tried, Sarah. We appreciate that for sure. It was, in fact, Beyonce. Hold up.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
When you hear it's Beyonce and you didn't get it, you're just like, why? Why me?
It's a very hard game, to be fair. It's Jason Statham is pretty,
Yeah, he could step up a bit, couldn't he, really, Jason? All right.
He's very, distracting. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. There's another opportunity. Let's move on. Let's do the next song.
I've fallen in love. I've fallen in love for the first time, and this time I know it's for real. I've fallen in love. Yeah, God knows. God knows. I've fallen in love.
I just don't know this song.
Oh no, you do. You definitely do. Okay, 5.
Oh gosh, yeah.
4, 3.
I think I've got it. Beep beep.
Beep beep. Sarah Gain.
Queen, I Want to Break Free. 1984.
Yes, she went in for the hat trick and she absolutely nailed it. That was indeed Queen, I Want to Break Free, and it was 1984. Yeah, well done, Sarah. All right, great. Okay. Sorry, Julie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry to all the musicians out there.
I know, and to Jason's beautiful singing.
And to Jason, obviously, yeah.
Who delivered something quite special there. But don't worry, it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm sure he'll come back next week. Okay. Well, congratulations, Sarah. You are the winner of Jason Statham Sings to the Nation this week. I know. Yeah. Thank you, and Julie, a gracious loser there. Thank you so much for joining us today, Julie. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. And so this is where we say goodbye to Julie and Sarah. We're going to pop you back in the waiting room, but we'll be back with you in just a moment. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
See you in a minute. Oh, thank you, Julie and Sarah. Yes, and we've got some people on the chat as well saying, well done, Sarah, which is lovely. And and thank you, Jason. That's what we should really say here. A huge thank you to Jason for giving up your time and energy. And I cannot wait to see what you have on offer for us next week. Okay, now our second guest needs no introduction because you just saw her, you just met her. But she does deserve one. So she is an actor, a presenter, a producer, a director and a voiceover artist. She has been incredibly busy over lockdown, directing for Slackline Productions, presenting The Emperor's New Clothes, which was written by Morgan Lloyd Malcolm for Fly High Stories in association with the Coronavirus Resistance Theatre. And I just realised that was a very long sentence. She's even been making friends with Peppa Pig, would you believe? And one of her proudest lockdown achievements has been watching all the MCU films in order. She is an inspiration and sunshine on a cloudy day. Yes, it is the spectacular Sarah Gain.
What an intro. Wow, thanks.
No problem. It's all true, so it's all right. You do all those things. Woohoo! It's funny hearing them listed, isn't it? Like, oh yes, I do a lot of things. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You've been pretty busy over lockdown. Has it been a good kind of busy? Has it been a needed busy or?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, as everyone will say, it's such a weird time. And I think just anything that can kind of keep your brain focused on what you're used to doing just has been a real help. Has just kind of made it feel less stressful, I think. It's kind of made the weeks actually feel like they went quite quickly because I always felt like I'd got something to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was times I just sat there in my pajamas watching telly, but it was, for the most part, it was nice to just keep doing something and feeling focused and to be able to tick most of my boxes, like have those different hats on. That's quite amazing. I struggled to do that out of lockdown sometimes. So that was quite mad.
Yeah. Did you find that actually that there was opportunities perhaps presented that wouldn't have been ordinarily when you were in lockdown, or was it just that it was more accessible because, you know, traveling was easier?
I think you're right. I think there's not necessarily more was available, but I think it made us think of things in different ways. And so that presented things that probably wouldn't have come about if lockdown hadn't happened. Like Emperor's New Clothes wouldn't have come about if it wasn't for lockdown, because it was like, right, we need to do something creative. We want to get something out there. What can we do? What can we do? And sort of myself and Beck and Beck Gadsby, who is the director on it and also the brains behind it, who was the person who actually got in touch with Fly High to talk about the script. It came from that desperation of kind of going, come on, theatre can't be closed. We've got to do something. So yeah, that was definitely something that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Yes, and that came out of an online theatre group, didn't it? That Rebecca Gadsby created and that you very quickly started producing on as well. Can you tell us a bit about what sort of inspired the creation of the group and what sort of stuff you did over lockdown?
Yeah, it was I think Beck realised really, really quickly that people were going to struggle. And I think we're both really hyper aware of mental health within artists anyway. And just, you know, our business is challenging enough at the best of times. And to suddenly have all idea of your business completely gone, you know, quite often people, particularly when they're actors, that's their entire identity. But I mean, that goes for most creatives as well. So very quickly, Beck sort of thought, I'll have this group and I've got this great idea. Beck's one of these amazing people that just kind of fireworks ideas everywhere. But she's also one of these people you need to go, okay, I've caught some of this. We've got it. I'll make sure it works okay. And she's like, yeah, I've got another idea. So we kind of complement each other really, really well, because it means that I'll kind of field those ideas and help her put them into practice. And it means that she can keep having those amazing and crazy ideas. So it's nice. And it was just a way to kind of say, well, you know, she's a director. I come from that background as well as being an actor as well. So it's kind of going, okay, well, what kind of things do we want, or what can we offer to people? And just saying, look, do you want to do like a nice theatre warm up on a Monday morning? Do you want to do some play readings? And, you know, has anyone got any skills that they just want to share with the group? And it was just really nice, because suddenly it felt like we had this little community, and suddenly the world didn't feel so locked away. So it was a really nice way to kind of see through lockdown.
Yeah, sounds like you're a good team. And so the Emperor's New Clothes is a digital theatre production, essentially. Would you mind just talking us through what it actually is?
Yeah, so the script itself came from a fab company called Fly High Stories, and they had asked 10 writers to do plays that children could print out at home and do with their parents. And Beck had this brilliant idea to get actors to read in the parts that the kids could then start to interact with this story. So if the parents were busy, because let's be honest, not all of the parents were on furlough or had stopped. So some kids had time on their own, and we just kind of a bit kind of shell-shocked of what was going on. And so, yeah, we approached Fly High Stories and said, you know, would you mind if we turn this into a digital interactive piece? And I've done lots of interactive things before. So it's kind of putting all of the knowledge that I got of what a live theatre thing would be and trying to put that into something that was digital, so kids really could feel like they were talking to the characters that they had. And then sort of how was that going to work? And that's when the idea of the storybook came up, that kids could read along with it, so they could see who these characters were, they knew who they were reacting to, and kids could kind of interact how they wanted. And I mean, it's rough and ready around the edges, because we did it in lockdown and we didn't know what we were doing. But actually, as a base plate for what we were trying to achieve, I think, you know, all things considered, I think we did a cracking job. I'm really proud of what we achieved, or everybody achieved on it. It was amazing. Obviously, you were in our magical pet, which was wonderful.
I was there, typecast as a magical pet. Yeah, as you can see, it made sense. No, it was great. And I wondered though, because from my perspective, I was turning up on Zoom and delivering the lines, and so that wasn't in some ways that different for me. But from the perspective of actually producing it and directing it, did you have any unforeseen challenges or anything like that out along the way?
Oh yeah, loads. Yeah, I know Bex herself said, as far as the directing thing went, you know, none of us have ever directed over a virtual medium before. So that was, I know she had her own challenges. From our perspective, it was just kind of from my perspective as producing it, it's just kind of finding ways to fluidly be able to talk to people about what it is that you want and be able to sort of streamline all that together, and to actually try and work out what's possible. Is sometimes you kind of go, well, I know I want a book, and I know I want it to look like this, and I know I want the pages to turn, and I want this actor to be in the corner. Am I asking the impossible, or am I asking something that is possible? So that was the kind of learning curve to go, oh no, that is completely possible, or no, Sarah, get your head out of the clouds. That's not going to happen. And finding those people as well to be able to say, like discovering people's qualities of their abilities. That was also really interesting, because everyone who did this, as you know, everybody very kindly gave their free time, everyone gave their skills, because everyone really wanted to try and see if we could do it and see if we could make it work. And we want to try and progress that forward. It wasn't abusing people's abilities. It was, can we do this? Okay, now we want to try and move that forward. So that's kind of the aim from there, and learn from what we took on from that, which was, yeah.
Yeah, new skills, I think, is certainly for obviously I'm talking broadly, but I think that could be said to be a positive that came out of that time for some people, for sure. Being forced to learn things that you probably just wouldn't have before, because you wouldn't have had to learn to do those things. You also directed a film for Slackline Productions over lockdown called DITSY MIDAXI. So again, how was that? Was that quite a challenge for you?
Yeah, that was really interesting. So the lovely thing about Slackline, the sort of their MO is to work with women 35 plus and really sort of push that side of the industry, which is lovely. And it's a really sort of welcoming environment. I was very lucky to work with Kristen, who runs the company actually, who she sent me 6 monologues and sort of said, look, these are the 6 scripts, which one attracts you the most? And do you think you could direct or want to direct? If there's none, that's fine. And DITSY MIDAXI sort of jumped out. I'm very much about silly, lighthearted, daft. And I was like, yeah, I can see how this would work. And then it was just about something that would feel like quite an easy thing to do in a theatre space when you're both in the same room, to then be able to go, okay, this person's on Zoom. How do I describe, how do I pull a performance out of somebody that's not dictatorial, for starters, to be able to make them have ownership of it, to feel creatively free, and to try and forget that there is this weird screen thing in front of us. So it was learning language was the biggest thing I found to start with, just trying to find the right words to say and try to, and also to use the screen to your advantage, because their main thing was it was a monologue like you would have in a theatre, but on screen, and wanted to make use of both, kind of like we'd thought with Empress New Clothes, make use of both. It can't just be theatre because it's digital, but it's not a film. So find the fun in that. So yeah.
Oh, so it's trying to find the middle ground between those two different kind of disciplines, really.
And the best elements out of both of them as well, like being able to have little cutaways in DITSY MIDAXI was great fun, because that's something it wouldn't work like that in theatre. So we could throw in these little things that you could have on screen, but still trying to keep that element of a live monologue going.
Okay, cool. And you also you managed to really impress your niece as well over recently, actually, wasn't it? Very recently. Could you tell us how you managed to really impress her?
Yes. So I was extremly fortunate during lockdown and managed to get myself a job, which was pretty rare for everybody. And I am the voice of Daisy on the Peppa Pig's afternoon tea bus tour, which is she's not a character like Peppa or George or any of those. She is a human that kind of interacts with that world. So she wasn't animated. She's not animated in any way on that, and she's turned up in other things, I believe. But yes, so I had a very fun day of being in a recording studio doing all of these interesting facts about London, Peppa Pig styly. And one of the very kind things they said, was that we could come onto the bus, and if I had any kids that they could come on and have a tour. And I was like, I know 2 little girls who will love this. So obviously we had to wait for everything to be up and running and fine. And yes, fortunately managed to go last Sunday. And I hadn't told my nieces what I'd done. I just said that we were going to have a surprise, and that was it. And we didn't tell them until they literally stood outside the bus and then explained what was going to happen. And they were really excited. I was a bit worried they might be a little bit old for Pepper, but there was chocolate and cakes involved, so I knew it would be fine no matter what. And we sat down on the bus in front of this amazing spread of cakes and sandwiches, and we got our hot drinks and stuff. And there's like tablets on the side that have got so Pepper, the narrator, and Daisy's voice talking, and they kind of talk you through what's happening. And I think it was about the second voiceover in, my slightly older niece, who's 7, sort of looked at me through narrowed eyes and went, "That sounds like you." I was like, yeah. She went, "Oh, all right." And then it took a little while longer for my other niece to pick up on this. And then once she picked up on it, she was like, "That's you, Auntie Sarah. That's you." Well, the poor guy who was hosting on this bus, she felt the need to tell not just him, but the waiters as well. And I was like, oh God, this is so mortifying. So she said, "That's Auntie Sarah, that is." And I'm sat there going, oh. And so they're looking at her like, is she telling the truth? And I was like, well, I can't say no, because then my niece is going to be like, "But you said," and I, at the same time, I don't want to say yes because I sound a knob.
That's me. Yes, that's me.
Yes, that is me.
You should be proud.
Oh, I was, but it was a really awkward situation, but it was really sweet. And bless her. So they were very excited. And then it was really sweet because the guys on the bus were also very excited to go, "We've got the voice of Daisy on the bus." So I was like, oh.
This is it. Yeah, I bet they were. I bet they were really excited. I know.
Daisy.
Well, if I ever go on that bus, now I'll be very excited as well. Be like, I know Daisy.
The sandwiches are worth it.
I also know 2 other girls that would have been really excited about that news. If they knew the voice of Daisy, and they've sent in some questions. So I'm gonna ask you this one from Jazz and Holly. What's your favourite flower?
My favourite flower would, I think it would be a daisy. I genuinely think they're really pretty. It's got nothing to do with the character. Genuinely think daisies are really pretty.
And they're resilient, I think, daisies. They're like, yeah, I'm coming through the grass. You can mow this lawn, but I'm coming back. Yeah. Now, we asked you to bring along an object that symbolised a lockdown for you. Do you have that with you?
I do have that. Would you like me to reveal it?
Please do.
So my lockdown object is hair dye. The reason being, because this particular box of hair dye was supposed to go on my hair as we kicked into lockdown. I was doing a show which got cancelled at the end with 2 weeks left to go. And I was an understudy in the show. It was a lovely tour called Revenge. And obviously I was trying to keep my hair up looking nice. And we kicked into lockdown and I kind of went, well, there's no point really dyeing my hair now, is there? And then I got really curious and was like, I wonder what colour my hair will end up being. So this staring at me in my bathroom for the whole of lockdown has felt quite symbolic, really, of just like, how much grey is going to come through here. It's very exciting. My roots are down to about here now, so it's not too bad in this light. But as a very kind friend said to me at one point, you've got like a rogue strip going on. I was like, oh, good.
A rogue stripped. But
Yeah.
they made that sound cool in a way, though. So, why
Well,
not?
Rogue is a mutant from X-Men, so I was like, I'll take it.
Oh, which of course you know all about now, since you've managed to watch every film from the Marvel universe over the last 6 months. Well done, in order. That's an achievement. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us this evening, Sarah. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. And yeah, thanks for giving us your time and your energy, and good luck with all the projects that you have on. And I hope to hear the voice of Daisy very soon.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's been an
Thanks,
absolute
Sarah. Oh, thank you. Bye. Great. So now I know all I have to do to impress my niece is to get a job voicing a popular cartoon. Come on. It can be done for you, Lola. Okay, so our next guest comes to us from a wonderful organisation based in West Norwood. They spend most of their time travelling the whole of London, spreading joy and happiness and having a lot of fun in schools and nurseries whilst educating the children, of course. And when COVID-19 hit the nation, Playphonics, like most companies that rely on face-to-face contact, had to rethink its day-to-day running and how it could quite literally survive as a small business. We are very excited to be joined today by the founder of Playphonics, the brilliant Emmy Siobhan. But before we meet Emmy tonight, we've got a few pictures of the wonderful work that she does. Hey! Hi, Emmy! There you are. I just have Kylie Minogue's I'm spinning around, going round and round in my head right now as that was happening. How are you, Emmy? I don't. Hey, Emmy, can you hear me?
Oh, you can hear me now. I don't know what was going on there.
No, that's okay. It was kind of exciting. It was like,
I was on the side, then I wasn't on the side, then I was like, oh, and then you caught me with a glass of wine in my hand as well at the beginning.
Busted. Thursday night, that is a Thursday night bust.
Any night, to be honest.
And we like honesty. So
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for me.
No problem at all. And I couldn't help but notice that you have a little quote from Olivia Colman about Playphonics. That's quite exciting, isn't it?
Do have a little quote from Olivia Colman. She has become a bit of a fan in lockdown, which is great. She's got a daughter who, has been enjoying Playphonics with Sammy Sounds. So, it's great.
That's amazing.
Really
That's
surreal. Really random and surreal. Yeah. So now whenever we're filming our phonics sessions and I'm doing my accents and stuff, I always am thinking, Olivia Colman might be watching. I better up my accent game here.
Yeah, amazing. Could you give us a little bit more information about what Playphonics does as an organisation?
Yeah, sure. So we teach literacy in primary schools and in nurseries, and now also online, using drama and adventure and puppetry to bring learning to life. It's a bit like we have a team of amazing actors who go into settings and deliver weekly drama adventures where we fly to Phonics Land on an adventure and rescue a different phonics sound each week. And it's all through just immersive fun and silliness and escapism, which has been really great for the children during lockdown, to have that bit of escapism where they fly off to the golden skies of Phonics Land, and that's been really useful. And it's all about just building confidence in phonics and really just starting a learning journey, just making sure that sort of association with literacy is full of joy and positivity, and creating positive associations with reading, really.
Yeah, and did you do any work online before lockdown then, or was this a complete new venture?
No, we didn't do anything online. No, not at all. I'd been working it out, luckily, for a number of years. I'd been sort of writing something for online and trying to adapt that. So it meant that when lockdown happened, I had an idea of how I wanted to adapt it for screen, basically, because I'd already been sort of adapting it for a number of years and trying stuff out and things. So it just had to be a really fast, quicker version of that. Had to, suddenly it all had to happen quickly. I had to learn a lot.
Yeah, in a short space of time. There's been a lot of that being mentioned, actually, people picking up new skills just out of complete necessity. And was it purely through online workshops that you managed to survive then as a business throughout lockdown?
Yeah, I think so, basically. Yeah. I think I feel really fortunate as a company that we didn't have an office space that I think, or a workshop space or something that we had to keep paying rent for over lockdown. I know a lot of companies that I'm friends with who that's been the biggest challenge really over lockdown, is having to attempt to negotiate with landlords over the rent. And, when, especially with businesses that involve children, like soft play or children's entertainment, it's obviously been one of the last things to open, and still there's still a lot of stuff up in the air in terms of that. So we were very fortunate in the sense that we could adapt relatively easily and quickly for online, and obviously it was something that was really needed to help with the home learning that a lot of parents were suddenly finding themselves in the situation where they had to be early years experts and be able to suddenly teach phonics in line with the curriculum, and also try and juggle everything else going on. I've got a 5-year-old myself, so I was in that boat trying to do green screen filming and also, day-to-day management of the business as well as home learning and stuff. And obviously I work in early years, so you'd think it would be a little bit easier, but it's still really, it's hard juggling everything. And so to allow, a lot of feedback we had from parents was it just allowed them some breathing space as well, where they felt that their child was having fun, having that escapism, but also learning a lot as well. So I think that was useful for us. Yeah.
I'm sure parents found that really useful, to be fair. Yeah. But now you are starting to go back into some nurseries and some schools. What does that kind of look like for you? Is the show going to be completely different, or the
thing that we're working really hard to do, obviously we've been carrying out thorough COVID risk assessments and things to try and work out how we can make the changes and keep everybody, children and team members, as safe as possible. And the key, I think, for it to work, for the sessions to work as they have done for years, is to find a way to adapt, to keep that the sort of distance that we need to keep and change things, all those adaptations, but keep the joy and the fun and the drama and the silliness and the heart of play phonics and Sammy sounds. That's what we're trying to do. And I think there's some adaptations we've had to make that I think, oh no, that's really sad that the children can't touch the puppets or play with the puppets, that they normally, manipulate the puppets themselves, or they're not going to be able to do that. But actually, I think our team of actors are just so brilliant and charismatic and fun that it's like having a CBeebies presenter come to school once a week or come to nursery, that actually that's going to be exciting enough, especially after being in lockdown for all this time, that, if there's a few things that we can't do that we normally do, I think we've still got enough, we bring enough fun to balance.
Yeah. And imagination as well, was, the kids, they're just so good with that. And then if you've got the right people delivering things, then you can create anything with them, really, if you work towards that. And okay, great. And do you have a favorite play phonics moment from over lockdown?
It was really hard to choose. Do I have a favorite play? I've got 2. Can I have 2?
You can have 2, yes.
I can do, because it's been a really, I think a lot of people have found this, it's been a really difficult time for everybody. It's been one of the most challenging times, but there's also been a lot of wonderful moments that have happened for Playphonics as well. So actually, that's quite a hard question because there's been some brilliant things happen. And so the first one would be one of the things that when I set Playphonics up back in 2013, big reason for why it's created is to help close the gap between disadvantaged pupils and their peers. And it's something that I'm really passionate about doing. And actually during lockdown, I suddenly became aware that we need to adapt in order to be able to do that, because in order to make sure that the children who really needed that support were able to get it. So I think it was May or June, we launched our Help a Child to Read scheme, and we started partnering with charities to help get the children that were really needing that literacy support during lockdown to be able to access Sammy Sounds adventures for free. And this amazing charity called the Childhood Trust, just really, I feel really fortunate that I was able to come into contact with them, and they just championed what we're doing and hooked us up with so many charities that were amazing charities all over London that we're now supporting, and loads of children are now enjoying Sammy Sounds. And that was quite a moment when that started to happen. I felt, oh yes, that was really lovely.
That's great.
Obviously, there's still a lot more work to do, but it's a step in the right direction. So basically, it means that 10% of any online subscription now goes towards funding a free place for other children. So that was a great moment for us. And then the second moment is that we were shortlisted. So we made it to the final, we've made it to the final of the Teach Early Years Awards, which is really prestigious. And really, it was a big surprise when that happened. So that was exciting.
Congratulations.
It was all so new. Like the online adventures were so new that when we found out we were in the final, I was like, what? How did this happen? Yeah, so that was exciting. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. They're two great favourite moments, I think. And I have a question for you from a couple of our younger listeners, Jazz and Holly, who are they're very good at phonics, actually.
No phonics question, no pressure.
It's not a phonics question. Okay, and it's, what's your favourite beach?
What is my favourite beach? Oh, is it Jazz and Holly?
Jazz and Holly, yeah.
Holly. Oh, my favourite beach off the top of my head is a beach. I can't even remember what the beach is called, but it's in the south of Sri Lanka, and it's really lovely, and it's got loads of palm trees and loads of nice roti cafes along the beach, which was kind of the deal breaker for me when I had to choose a favourite. Was the roti cafes.
The cafes. What colour was the sand? What was it like, the sand?
It was very white, beautiful, fine sand, and coconuts all over the place. So I love a bit of coconut juice. Coconut water.
There you go. Well, thank you. And it was a very specific question. I wasn't expecting that. So we have asked you to bring along one lockdown object, something that symbolises lockdown for you. Have you brought anything along with you?
I have, and this wasn't too challenging, to be honest. I've got it here. So it is my green screen. Because I don't know if you can see it. I've got Velcro all attached to the green screen, because basically constantly during lockdown, every day, we turned the living room into a green screen studio. And we've got Velcro all along our living room walls now, where we can just hook up the green screen. And we borrowed amazing lighting from some friends of ours. My husband became the director of photography, and my daughter became the director, and the power definitely went to her head. So it became a real family affair. And so far we filmed 71 episodes of Sammy Sounds. So it's been intense.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
A lot. It's just a phonics land. Yeah. And so this green screen has been like just the biggest. I didn't even know how to use green screen or anything about it. But at the beginning of lockdown, I ordered one and it came. And then I had to just do a quick online course on how to film on green screen.
Yeah, and just creating like other worlds basically in your, like you say, in your living room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Emmy. It's been
thanks
lovely.
for having me.
No problem. Thank you. And it's been great to hear about everything that Playphonics is doing. And I wish you all the luck with going back into nurseries and schools now. It's all very exciting. And
Really exciting.
Yeah. Well,
Fab.
and I hope
Thank
Sammy
you.
Sounds has some nice journeys. Thank you.
Too.
See you, Emmy.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Great, lovely. And if you would like any more information about Playphonics or any of our guests tonight, then you can see that information in the YouTube bio just beneath. And I should say, if you haven't already, you can subscribe as well to our YouTube channel just by clicking just down there. There's a little subscribe button. Okay, so we're at the final feature of the show, and it's the time where we say a big thank you to someone in the local community. Yes, it's time that we give a shout out to a local living legend. So every week we give thanks to someone in the community nominated by you that has gone above and beyond in these crackers COVID times. And that can be anyone from a mate that snuck a crunchie through your door because sometimes you just really need a crunchie, or a family member that's working for the NHS. Whatever they've done, however big, however small, if they've made a positive difference or they're still making a positive difference, we would like to hear about it. So without further ado, let's have a look at who is wearing the Living Legend crown this week.
Living legend.
What a legend.
Aw, thanks.
Hello, my name is Emily. My nomination for the Living Legend is my friend Hattie Windsor from Lambeth. And I'm nominating her because she is just amazing. She had a beautiful baby girl called Alba during this whole crazy lockdown period in March. And she's just been the most amazing mum, even though it's been so difficult for her, like not being able to, for her friends and family to be able to hold her, to hold Alba. She's just been cool, calm, collected, and just a fantastic mum. So she's an inspiration, and I think she deserves this nomination. Also, shout out to her fiance Felix, who's also been a great dad. So yeah, my nomination is Hattie.
Oh, thank you, Emily. Thanks for sending that in. And yes, Hattie, you are clearly an absolute legend. Yeah, having a baby during lockdown and absolutely smashing it. So thank you so much. If you happen to know a living legend and you'd like to shower them with thanks and glory on our show, then please do get in touch with us here at Sydenham Arts. You can email us at podcast@sydenhamarts.co.uk, or you can get in touch with us over social media. We're on all of them. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. It's been wonderful to have you here. Thank you to our brilliant guests. It's been great chatting with you. I've just seen in the chat as well that Liz nearly did a wee while she was watching Jason Statham. Liz, I hope you managed to hold that in or get to the loo, if you could drag yourself away from the screen. Remember, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those, for all the exciting updates from Sydenham Arts and to see who we have on the show next week. Big thank you tonight to Mike, who's been on tech, our tech support. And if you are keen to listen to this podcast again, which I completely understand, you have a friend or a family member that's more of an audio person than a YouTube person, the audio version of this podcast will be out next week, and that will be on Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and many, many more platforms. Thank you again for joining us here tonight. Have a lovely week. See you next week. Bye.